This video hopefully will help out people who are pretty familiar with this game already and have been mostly playing with aim assist for a very long time, and to try to make a transition from aim assist to DeadEyE and to help lessen the pain and suffering that you probably will be or have experienced. So some of the things I want to go over include things like controller grip, aiming practice, like different things you can do to help improve your aim, different couple of practice methods that I myself do, and hopefully overall just shoot a little faster and maintain the accuracy needed for a good DeadEyE run, especially in the harder levels. Before I get too far into things too, there's one thing I definitely want to emphasize on that I've seen this happen so many times. And I'll make a suggestion to someone playing I see and like, hey, you should try DeadEyE, and like, oh okay, yeah, I can totally do that, and they're so used to using aim assist that they start using DeadEyE on hard, like right off the bat. I'm like, just shaking my head. I'm like, okay, you might want to try a little easier, but if you feel that comfortable, sure. So I'm just gonna tell you right now, you got a ways to go before you can be all John Wick and DeadEyE mode. So yeah, just do yourself a favor, just start easy, don't try to rush into it and work your way up, and you'll be happy that you did. So let's get started. We got grips first up. There really isn't just a single perfect grip to use. It's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you're able to hold steady, or just whatever you just want to practice and get stuck with for the rest of your pistol whip career. Alright, so for the sake of trying to not spend all the time on this specific section, I just want to briefly touch on the three different main controllers I've used, being the original Vive controllers, the Rift S controllers, and the new Index controllers. Depending on which one you use, depends a little bit on how or what you have to be careful of, I guess. So as far as the Vive controllers go, because you're basically just holding a plastic tube, you have to be wary of especially when you're pistol whipping a guy and coming back to shoot. I found it really difficult to keep the same hold or grip on that controller consistently. A lot of times it would just twist a little bit. When you go in pretty fast, it becomes more noticeable. The Rift S controllers, I really didn't feel that much of an issue with that at all. I haven't used it as much as the other ones, but I feel like just the way it's designed, it just kind of seats a little more quickly and simply into your hand the same way every time. So more of the bigger concern is actually with the newer Index controllers. Because of the strap on it and the way it wraps around the back of your hand, it has a tendency to more take the movement of the back of your hand when you're firing and transfer it throughout the entire controller. So for me, it's hit or miss. Sometimes I feel that tightening the strap really tight helped, but at the same time, as the game went on, the strap would slowly loosen, and then you start jittering when you try to do quad fires or whatnot. So I ended up having to slightly pull my hand out of the strap, back it up a little bit, and then lower it down a little bit further on the handle. And that's partially because my hand's really big, and my index finger was wrapped too far around the trigger. So instead of pulling the trigger straight back for a straight shot, it was pulling it at a slight angle and causing my whole controller to kind of shift a little bit. And I think partly because of the whole strap situation, but it's something to be mindful of anyways, and I feel like that would definitely be a really helpful point to try to keep in mind. So just try to keep a fairly loose grip, or whatever works for you, whatever you can do to minimize movement when you're shooting at the same time. Alright, tip number 2. So this is probably gonna be the most helpful tip for you guys. I don't know, you may have noticed, you may not, but it's easier to shoot on the vertical plane than it is the horizontal plane. And what I mean by that is, I think of it this way, that shooting horizontally left to right, you're twisting your whole entire body, and then you have to stop your entire body to line up a shot and then shoot. Versus vertically, you're just literally, you're already in that spot and you just literally just lift up your arms. Now, I guess if you think about it, it's probably more like a two-stage process, because you would want to move your body first where you're looking at and then raise your hands up, rather than already having your hands up and just rotating your body to stop on point already. So it seems like it is an extra step, but it's an extra step that helps you be more accurate. You basically just want to make sure you're looking down your sights the entire time you're shooting, whatever direction you're going. And that's where it gets tricky, because you have to train yourself to twist your entire body around. All right, I'm going to go find a training site. And here we are at the training site. So this is what you should not do. Pretend there's guys here. Don't just start shooting at the guys randomly with your wrist, like twisting all around. Instead, I want you to face the block, the imaginary person that isn't really there, but he will be. He will be. So then, face the block, just raise your hands, and just shoot. If you just pause the game and see and practice this with the laser pointer on, you'll see that like 9 times out of 10, or if not all the time, it's going to be pointing at what you want to shoot at. The imaginary person that doesn't exist. Not yet, anyways. Okay. Make sure you keep your grip right in the center of your field of view the whole time. Just twist left to right. Practice doing that. Then find the guy, stop, raise your arm up, shoot, and drop back down. And you can do a more exaggerated motion of this, and just when you're moving around, just kind of give it a little up and down motion a little bit, and that should help you kind of pinpoint your target a little easier. So yeah, so just mess around with that a little bit, give that a try, and that should be helpful, or get you started as to going on the right track as far as building your muscle memory for your instinctive shooting. So a pretty common question I see get asked is regarding sights. Some people ask if the more competitive players use sights, or if they should use sights, or what are they doing wrong, and they get worried that they have to use sights when they never have before. So ultimately, I'm just gonna say, don't even bother using sights. It's really not worth it. They have their function, they do their job if you know how to use it properly to start with. But the problem is they're just too slow. They're okay for the easy levels, when to start off something easy. You have the time to take your shot, and you don't have to worry about so many bullets coming at you. But as soon as you start getting into the harder levels, like normal and especially hard, you're not gonna have enough time to sit there and line up your shot. And even if you do, you're into being so focused on trying to land your sights, you can't see what's around you. So you're most likely gonna get shot by one of the guys, or maybe even hit a wall, whatever there may be. More or less the point just being, it's not a habit that you really want to get yourself into, because if you're going to go through all the work of learning DeadEyE, you're going to be setting yourself back a step or two. Okay, which brings us to one of my personal speed shooting practice sessions. Now, I don't think anyone else has really thought about doing this. I've mentioned this to a couple people before, and I don't know if they've ever tried it. I'm curious if they ever had, because I like to know if it actually has worked for them. It's worked for me, so I'm going to share it with you guys. So, first thing to do is select your level. I'm going to use replicants, and then you go to the game options, sound effects, and turn your music volume all the way down to the point where you can't hear it, meaning turn it off. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it, really. Just play the whole map just like this, and you don't have to worry about shooting on beat, and just try to do the things I already mentioned as far as lining up your shot from a vertical if you have to, if it helps, and then work your way up. You might have to start on a easier map, but eventually it'll hopefully gain more speed and become easier. Now you can play this with the unarmed foes modifier enabled, and that will probably help you quite a bit. But I wouldn't really recommend doing that too often, because then when you actually play the game for real, you're gonna forget how to dodge. It does happen. It's happened to me. It happens to everyone, I'm sure. Well, maybe not everyone, because not everyone does this, but you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah. So the other thing too is, remember that when while I'm doing this, I'm shooting like I'm moving my whole body and moving left to right pretty quickly. So you want to make sure you do movements and sudden stops. That's really the whole purpose of this exercise, is just getting used to being able to line up your shot faster without without just randomly going sideways and shooting, without actually sighting in and stopping really quickly. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. This is my first time really doing anything like this, so I'm sure it was a little sketchy, choppy. Took me a while to do, but hopefully you'll be able to find something out of it that will help you make the transition through. Even if you do play DeadEyE more often already and just still need help with aiming, hopefully the tips I gave will be some use. One last thing. Obviously you're gonna end up having to play the levels over and over again, and then that can get really tiring, believe me, I know. So that's when I started doing song swaps, and that definitely helps you appreciate the level more. They're over in the pistol whipping modding Discord, and I have a couple myself that I'm using in this video. And if there's anything else that you guys think that you would like to have covered or explained, or any helpful suggestions, let me know, and I'll see about trying to get them covered in another second video. Okay, peace.